As you sleep, the fever worsens. Chills hit you with a violent shudder. The heat from your sickness flees under the quaking cold. You groan softly, curling up tighter. A soft hiss shushes you, but you can't find anything warm at all. The smooth brush of scales loosen around you. The outside cold slips away. Your feverish skin, but stays within. It hasn't broken yet, Moon murmurs distantly. Cold fingertips brush your hair. The damp sweat on your forehead. A whine leaves you. You hate how pathetic you sound now. But the coldness from the room seeps into your bones, causing you to shiver and curl up into a tighter ball. The fever is wreaking havoc on your body, leaving you weak and miserable. You moan softly, trying desperately to find something warmth in the coldness that surrounds you. Suddenly, the cold touch of the metallic from Moon's hand against your skin makes you shiver for a different reason. They seem to envelop you, offering you a slight sense of comfort. But then, they slowly slide away, letting the coldness creep back. Moon's voice breaks the silence. His words more distant and quiet, as if he was talking to himself more than you. It hasn't broken yet, he says, his voice filled with concern and determination. You hear the soft sound of your hair being brushed away from your forehead, the cold fingertips gently brushing against your warm skin. The contact is small enough, but it's enough to soothe the fever restless in your body. A whine escapes you involuntarily. You're sympathetic and even pitiful to your own ears. You hate it. You hate feeling so weak, so vulnerable, so sick. The fever makes you helpless, and the chills shuddering through your body only makes it worse. Shh. It's okay, Moon whispers. His voice is taking on a soothing tone, a stark contrast to his usual cold demeanor. His cold fingertips begin to brush your hair back. His movements are gentle and caring in a way that you'd never would have expected from him. There's a moment of silence as Moon continues to brush your hair back, his cold touch providing a small measure of comfort against the onslaught of chills. But you're still shivering. Your shiver is becoming increasingly noticeable. The fever seems to take its sweet time in breaking. Hang in there, Moon murmurs. His voice was soft and low. It seems to be watching you closely. His eyes flicker over your face, assessing your condition. The coldness of his touch is a strange contrast to the warmth your fever added. Thankfully, it was an off day, so the daycare wouldn't be open today. So you had the whole day to try and get better. The chills seemed to come in waves, each more violent than the last, your body going from scalding hot to freezing cold in seconds. Despite the comfort of Moon's cold touch, your body still racked with quakes of the fever. You let out another involuntary whine, your eyelids too heavy to keep open. You're shaking so much, Moon states, his voice almost concerned now. He continues to brush your hair back, his fingers touching your forehead as if he was checking your temperature. It should break soon. The sensation of his cold fingers against your forehead distracts you from the heat in your body, but it's not enough to ease the intense shivers that rack you. You're reading yourself and starting to feel exhausted. The constant trembling taking on its toll. You feel weak and miserable. It's taking too long to break, Moon mutters, his fingers still working to brush your hair from your forehead. It was sticking there because of the sweat. There's a sense of frustration in his voice, as if he was wishing he could do more to make this fever break faster. But there's a shift in the room, a subtle change in the air. The cold and precise presence of Moon seems to retreat, replaced by something much warmer and much more vibrant. "Hey there, superstar," a voice softly says, the tone immediately recognizable as Sun's. The change is sudden and unexpected. The warmth and cheerful tone of Sun immediately fills the room. Gone is the cold and calculated facade of Moon, replaced by the energetic and affectionate daycare attendant. Sun's hands are now on you, gently taking hold of your shoulders and guiding you into a slightly upright position. His voice is soft, but also filled with concern. "Feeling any better sooner?" he asks. His tone is gentle, but worried. Your body is shivering, but there's something so soothing about Sun's touch. It's different, somehow. More warm, more caring. His hand presses against your forehead again. Checking your temperature. "You're quite warm," he observes, a hint of worry in his voice as your body has switched from cold to warm again. Sun's touch lingers on your forehead, cold and soothing. He seems to be contemplating something. His voice soft yet determined when he speaks again. "You need to cool down," he tells you, his tone matter of fact. "I have an idea." Sun shifts, his hands guiding you to lay flat on your back once again. You can't help but shiver as your body makes contact with the cold surface of the bed. "Just relax, superstar," Sun murmurs, his voice reassuring, but then he moves away from you for a moment, disappearing from your field of vision, leaving you alone with your thoughts. The relentless shivering. After a few moments, Sun returns. His footsteps are quiet but noticeable. He's carrying something in his hands. The sound of it was soft and rustling. You can feel the mattress tip beside you as he sits down. "I brought you something," he says. His voice was soft and warm. He places a cloth on your forehead. It's cool and soothing, causing another shiver to run violently through you, but this time it's a mix of chills and relief. The cloth feels cool against your burning skin. It's a welcome relief, but Sun seems to be waiting a reaction. He gazes at your face. He carefully monitors your expression. How does that feel?" he asks, his voice laced with both concern and hope. You manage out a faint nod, the coolness of the cloth causing a slight easing of your shivering. It's not a drastic improvement, but there's something. And Sun seems to notice your slight nod, and a smile tugs at the corner of his mouth. "Good," he says, pleased, as he continues to gently press the cloth against your forehead. Sun's touch remains gentle and soothing as he continues to press it against your forehead. "You should rest, superstar," he tells you, his voice soft and encouraging. "Your body needs to fight off this fever." The coolness of the cloth and Sun's gentle touch seems to have a calming effect on you. Your eyes droop, the world around you becomes less and less clear as exhaustion finally starts to take over. Sun notices this and his voice becomes softer, almost a whisper now. "That's it. Just close your eyes and rest," he murmurs, his fingers lightly brushing over your cheek. The room seems to grow even quieter, the only sound being the soft rustling of the cloth as Sun continues to press against your forehead. Your breathing starts to slow, your body slowly succumbing to the fatigue, the effects of the fever. Sun continues to stroke your hair, his touch gentle and comforting. "Just rest," he repeats, his voice lulling you into further sleep. "You'll feel better soon, superstar. Just rest." Your eyelids become hazy and distant. The last thing you hear is Sun's soothing voice, whispering gently, "Rest now, superstar." Before you finally surrender to the darkness of sleep, Sun sits beside you for a little while longer, watching as you sleep. His expression is soft and concerned, a mixture of worry and affection etched onto his features. He continues to hold the cool cloth against your forehead. His hand was gentle and steady, his gaze never really leaving your face. As the hours pass by silently, time slipping without your notice, the only sound in the room are the occasional hum and faint whirl of Sun's internal system, and your own labored breathing. Sun still hasn't moved from his spot. He's been sitting silently, the cool cloth still pressed against your forehead. His eyes fixated on your face, watching you sleep. Your sleep is restless and filled with fever-driven dreams. There's nothing Sun can do to alleviate the nightmare you're trapped in. There's hallucinations caused by your high temperature. They were tormenting you even in sleep. But Sun remains there, silent and unmoving, his cool touch offering the only comfort he can provide in this moment. As the time passes, the room grows darker and the onset of the evening. A small digital clock on the wall ticks away the minutes, each second marking a passing of another moment. Sun continues to sit there, his eyes never leaving your face, as his hand begins to move to brush your hair away from your sweaty forehead before returning back to its place. The cool cloth is still pressed against your skin as the hours have passed. The room is now dark with an approaching night. You slowly begin to swim back towards consciousness. The world around you has become less hazy and more focused. As your eyes flicker, you find Sun sitting next to you, his hands holding the cooled cloth against your forehead. His gaze immediately turns to your face when he notices your waking expression. Sun's eyes light up as he notices you're waking up. "Oh, you're awake," he says, his voice filled with a mixture of worry and relief. "How are you feeling, superstar?" As you try to respond, you notice the dryness in your throat. Your voice comes out hoarse, and a wheeze comes out. You're quickly seized into a short coughing fit. Sun immediately notices your struggles and reaches out to help you. He sits you up, his touch is gentle yet firm. Here, let me help you," he murmurs, his voice filled with concern as he carefully props you up. "Take it easy," he advises, his tone soothing. "You're still weak and sick." Sun moves closer, his gaze locked on you. He feels relief that you seem to feel better, but also just anxiety, if you could even say that. He still continues to watch you, his expression filled with worry. "Your fever is still high," he observes, hand moving to touch your forehead, checking your temperature. As the hours pass, the light outside slowly fades. Sun continues to monitor your condition. Despite your temporary lull in symptoms, you're still running a high fever, and the cool cloth isn't really providing enough relief. However, he isn't willing to give up. He sits next to you, contemplating on what to do. Your semi-lucid state seems to aware yourself, the shift in energy. There seems to be something happening, as if there was a battle going on in the daycare attendant. The brief flicker of Sun's expression, the usual cheerful demeanor faltering for just a second. His hands moving, becoming slightly jerky, his hands trembling very briefly, as if he was fighting an internal force. The room fills with tension, the air is charged, almost tangible energy. Sun's usual wide smile is replaced by a tight, strained expression. He seems to be locked into an internal struggle, his two personalities warring for control. The battle within Sun continues to play out. In utter silence, his body trembles from his movements, jerky and uneven as he holds the cool cloth against your forehead. The struggle seems to make him more intense now, Sun's cheerful persona fighting against the more logical and calculating demeanor of Moon. Moon's influence is growing stronger, his stoic and local demeanor pushing against Sun's cheerfulness. Sun's expression seems strange now as he fights between his two personalities. "Moon?" you croak out, eyes fluttering. Sun's body jerks at the sound, your hoarse voice cutting through the tense silence. He looks at you. "Don't worry, superstar," Sun manages, but his voice was strained and shaky, clearly fighting against Moon's grip. The eternal struggle with Sun continues. Eventually, it seems that Moon did take over Sun, as his personality turned from less cheerful to cool and logical. The cool cloth that he's been holding over you remains there. The only thing providing the slight comfort as you lay there, watching his Moon's stoic expression doesn't change. The sounds was broken, though, by the rustling cloth of your labored breathing. You watch him. He regards you silently, just kind of staring at you. But there's a subtle change in his gaze. It's a flicker of something soft, something warm, a hint of Sun's persona peeking through, and before being quickly smothered by Moon's cold demeanor. He regards you for a few moments, his expression guarded, but there's a hint of something tender in his eyes. He leans down, and he leans closer. Moon's lips find yours gently, the kisses unexpected, but not unwanted. The kiss is brief, a silent moment of tenderness in the cold room. He pulls away before leaving the room to find something to make you feel better. Maybe being sick wasn't so bad.